Welcome to A Drink of Wisdom. Nathan Drinkard, I'm Jay Wise. Thanks for spending some of your time with us. As always, as you know, the show is hosted on the Anchor app, but we're also on all the other big major podcast platforms, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and all the rest. And if you prefer the video format of the show so you can see our lovely faces, we're on YouTube at the A Drink of Wisdom YouTube channel. Um, what's going on, Drink?
Well, another day, another dollar. You know what I'm saying? Uh, we see what they don't, say what they want. Y'all know what time it is. It's another Saturday morning, and you know what we got to do. Let's talk some sports, baby. Let's roll, baby.
All right, episode 36. We've got Team LeBron and Team Kevin Durant. We've got the NBA All Star events to get into, plus Big Ben. He's back with the Steelers. We begin today with NBA action from Thursday night when the Miami Heat defeated the New Orleans Pelicans 103 to 93. Miami jumped out to a 16-point first quarter lead, and although the Pelicans clawed their way back to within two in the fourth, Jimmy Butler made sure they could never take the lead. Butler scored a game high 29 points, including 10 in the fourth. New Orleans was without Zion Williamson and could only shoot 40% from the floor and just 26% from behind the arc as they lost for the fourth time in 5 games. The Heat were without Bam Adebayo, but they entered the All-Star break red hot, winning for the seventh time in 8 tries. So, Drink, what did you see as being the biggest difference in this game?
I'm gonna say no Zion. I do feel. Listen, I know the Heat didn't have Bam Adebayo. I got it. Um, but when I looked at the Pelicans last night, what I liked about the Pelicans is those role guys are seeming to play better. Your Josh Harts, your Eric Bledsoes. Now I got it. Eric Bledsoe didn't go crazy, but when you break down what he did, like he contribute. That's the word I want to say. He contribute. Adams, you know what I'm saying? That's what I like about what I seen with the Pelicans last night. I do think if Zion played, I might even get him to win, just simply because I've been liking what I've been seeing with Brandon Ingram and Zion Williamson. They've been playing really good off each other. You know, Zion making a lot of plays out of the post. I thought they had something going, and then Zion don't play. But as far as the Heat go, listen, I think the Heat is starting to round back into that bubble form that we seen. Jimmy Butler being the leader, Gordon Dragic being the point guard, and then everything else pretty much going around those two. And once Bam Adebayo come back, I think that team is going to get back into the rhythm and show everyone that they weren't just a fluke. Because a lot of people saying, "Oh, that was just a fluke. They won't be that good." I do agree. I don't think they're going to get to the Eastern Conference, the NBA Finals this year. I do agree with that, but I don't think they was necessarily all fluke. Once this team get the firing back on our cylinders, as we see, Gordon Dragic, he's just not getting back into the fray, and they already looking better as is. Then you're gonna bring in Bam Adebayo. I don't really see no stats for Tyler Hero last night. I don't know, like if he didn't play or not, but I just feel like the Heat slowly starting to look like what we seen in the bubble. Let's see, but at the end of the day, the Pelicans, they was missing, pieces, and I don't know, man. It's so hard. It's very hard for me to evaluate. But if I had to answer the question, the difference being Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler is the guy from Miami. I think you would consider Brandon Ingram to be the guy for the Pelicans. It seemed like the guy from Miami came to work a little harder than the guy from New Orleans. I could be wrong, but that's what it seemed like to me. But that's the biggest difference I see is Jimmy Butler came. He seemed to came do his thing, his his leader thing. I mean, you got 18 out of Olenek. You know what I'm saying? Everybody know who Olenek is. Knockoff Thor, whatever you want to say. Mr. Armbar himself took Kevin Love right up out of the playoffs years ago. But at the end of the day, I feel like Miami is the better team of the two. They're the more confident team of the two. And listen, I like Stan Van Gundy as a coach. I just don't think he's on Eric Spoelstra level as far as coach. I think Eric Spoelstra is a tier above Stan Van Gundy. So I'm gonna give him a reprieve and say this game would have been different if Zion would have played. But I know if I'm talking to someone on the other side of the coin, they would say this game would be different if Bam Adebayo would have played. So I got it. But to answer your question, not to drag it out, I do think the biggest difference was Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler was the alpha. He came out there. He controlled the pace of the game. Just like you said, the Pelicans came within two in the fourth quarter. And then Jimmy Butler said, hey, hold my coffee. And he did what he had to do. So with all that said, I think Jimmy Butler was the difference. Good win for the Heat. The Pelican, take a breather. It's not, the season's not over yet, but you do got some work to do. But I feel like you can't do that work. But yeah, man, it was Jimmy Butler and his leadership.
Yeah, I think the difference was quite simple last night. It was one team had a closer, the other team didn't. Jimmy Butler, when the game got tight, I believe it was 89, 87, 87, 85, something to that effect. And then Jimmy Butler took over. He scored 10 out of 11 for the Heat, and that was it. Zion being out, it's a big deal. But like you say, I think Bam Adebayo being out for Miami, you could make the argument as that being just a bigger deal. I said last year at some point that I looked at Bam Adebayo as Miami's most important player. Jimmy Butler is their best player. He's their leader. But Bam Adebayo, all the different things he does with him being the defensive anchor, so versatile in what he can do. He's just as important, just as Zion is for the Pelicans. And although it is important that Zion didn't play last night, I don't know. I mean, he's been relatively healthy last year. I believe this was only the second game he's missed. New Orleans is sitting at 15-21. So this is 72 game season. So we're at the halfway point. And New Orleans, quite simply, they're not very good. They're similar to where they were last year, I believe. I think this is a team that. Go ahead.
I was gonna say I got a question for you. Do you think New Orleans is having a problem with expectations?
That's an interesting point. As I'm not aware. Are there big expectations around them? I don't know if there
I
are.
think so.
Are there?
I think why not? Why not? Okay, think about this. You got Zion. They want to get him the torch so bad. They keep trying to get him the torch. You got Brandon Ingram playing better. Then you brought one of the bigger names as far as analysts go for ESPN. You brought in Stan Van Gundy into the mix. I think they got some expectation on them. David Griffin, the GM. You brought in some pieces to try to make this team better. And I do honestly think it's some expectations, and I think that is the reason, like you said, they don't seem to be where they need to be.
I think there should be expectations. I guess I'm just you might know more of this to me. Like, I don't know, because I haven't paid a whole lot of attention to the punditry out there lately of what all is being said about them. Like, I think there should be expectations. I mean, when you got Zion Williamson out here averaging 26 and 7 and playing at a pretty high level. And this is a very talented team. Now, they are young, but like you say, you got David Griffin in there pulling the strings. You supposedly got an upgrade in the coach at Stan Van Gundy. I think there should be expectations, but I'm not. I mean, the expectation, I think, has to be a playoff spot. That's the first step for a team like this, and they don't seem particularly close right now. And I think
Right, and that's my point. That's my point right there. Right, what you said right there is exactly what I mean. Their expectation is to make the playoffs, but looking like they're crumbling under those expectations as of now.
And there's a lot of things. There are some real good things to like, and it's not only the starting lineup that's talented and young. They got a lot of guys off the bench that come out and play. This guy last night, Kyra Lewis out of Bama. I mean, he showed some good stuff last night. Alexander Walker out there, he was pretty inefficient, but he's a talented guy. Of course, the starting lineup with Bledsoe and Ball. I mean, I'm still not huge fans of that 3-point shooting last night. They were 4 for 16 combined. Lonzo just out here taking whatever shot he wanted. At least he looked aggressive last night. But I mean, it's 2 for 11 from 3 missed me with that. I gotta say, I thought it was interesting because I've never seen that type of technical difficulties in the broadcast with Grant Hill. Grant Hill had the second half off. I've never seen an announcer
I
have
thought
to
that was
leave.
weird. Yeah.
But I thought Kenny Smith was great. I enjoyed having him on as the analyst last night. The only part that he really missed that he could I didn't quite get. Well, I did get, but anytime you're talking about Lonzo Ball in summer league, stop. Well, I don't need to hear about that time that Lonzo Ball won MVP in summer league, and that was real good. And he ain't cutting it right now. When you the second, I gotta tell you, the second overall pick 4 years ago. Oh, I mean, is this it? Is this it? 15
Right.
points and 5 assists and just relatively. I mean, can I get an All Star appearance at some point? And what you said a couple days ago about whoever said it was, you know,
Oh, the Stephen A. Smith thing,
about
like
about Lamelo Ball. Yeah, Lamelo
being
Ball
what we thought
is what we
Lonzo was
thought
gonna be.
Lonzo was going to be. I think
Right.
that could be very well. I think, and what I think Kenny did say that was right on point is like Lamelo plays aggressively every possession throughout the game. Lonzo's aggressiveness, if it exists at all, it comes and goes.
Right.
So I mean that's a big deal. And I really thought another thing for New Orleans is, and it goes back to what I said up front about Jimmy Butler closing. Brandon Ingram wasn't involved all that much. The fourth quarter, I only took 3 shots. I believe he only played the last 5 minutes of the game. So New Orleans, just to me, for the amount of talent that they appear to have, they're pretty underwhelming. And I think defensively, they don't seem they're not connected and they don't play well together. And this is another thing I thought Kenny Smith was fantastic talking about. He was actively breaking down possession on multiple possessions, how Miami's defense was connected, they were together, they were moving, and New Orleans, their defense was getting broken down so easily over and over. And that's not unusual. That's something that they had trouble with last season.
I don't understand why. How do you have that problem when you have Bledsoe and Lonzo Ball guarding the perimeter?
And it's the same thing. And Josh Hart too. I mean, it's the same thing. They got
Yeah.
last year they had, good individual defenders. We know Zion can play defense. Steven Adams, protecting the rim. There's a lot of individual things. So it must be a team cohesive type thing. So, and another, can I just say about Stan Van Gundy, I get the feel Stan Van Gundy's a little bit overrated. When's the last time Stan Van Gundy won anything? The last time I remember Stan
Well,
Van Gundy being like really relevant at all was way back in the Miami Heat days. Before, and you will remember that Miami Heat team with Dwayne Wade and Shaq and all the rest, they didn't win anything until Pat Riley came down and took over.
but he did make it to the finals with New Orleans with the Dwight
With
Howard
what
team.
you
I think
okay,
he was the coach
you're
of that
right
team.
with Orlando. They did make the
Right.
finals then, but I guess okay, since Orlando, you've had the run in Detroit, which didn't really amount to much anything.
Yeah,
Now he's
that
in New
wasn't good.
Orleans. I'm just Stan Van Gundy feel a little overrated to me, and I need Stan Van Gundy to up his game, up this team because they have to be better than this. And another thing, Zion Williamson, if he's going to be the new face of the league whenever LeBron walks away, whenever that is, Zion Williamson plus Stan Van Gundy plus all these other guys, they gotta. I mean, 15 and 21 and like always on an uphill climb to a playoff spot. That's not going to be enough. You can't be the face of the league and not be in the playoffs come April. That's when
Right.
people still really lock in and watch what's going on in the NBA. But
Right.
I feel like I spent a lot of times in New Orleans. I just want to get back to Miami real quick because I think you're right.
Okay.
Miami appears to be back on the ascent. They look to be playing a lot better. They showed the splits last night of Jimmy Butler being in versus him being out, so we know how big he was or how important he is to this team. Tyler Hero, he didn't do a whole lot last night, but that young guy Precious Achua, they mentioned him as like kind of being Bam Adebayo light. He do a lot. He do a lot of good things. Very athletic, can rebound, can score inside. And Olenek was big last night. And he really set the stage and really posed problems for Steven Adams on the defensive end because he was forcing him to come out and guard the 3-point line. So that takes away your rim protector. So I thought Miami was tremendous last night, and it looks like these are two teams headed in very opposite directions to me.